Thank you very much for the invitation. At first, I have to say that I have to go to vote because, unfortunately, in Germany we cannot vote in a digital way. We have to bring our cards in a box very manually, and then and we have 3 votes, and we have to 3 times go to the box, took the card. And put the card in, and so it's not typical for digital donation, and so it takes many time, and so we have to vote not later than 11:30. So I make it very short, but maybe I can come back and I can join your session. Yes, I think we live in very, very special times. You know, I think nobody could imagine, not even the intelligence services, that we could have a hot war in Europe. And during the time when we wake up in the morning, we look how's the weather, we look Facebook or whatever you look. And close to us in Europe, the people wake up in the morning and the first check is, are my relatives still alive? Are my cousins still alive? Is my mother still alive? And if you see how brutal this war is, our grandparents remember on their baddest day, and now we live in these war times in Europe. And after this human-made miracle of bringing freedom to Berlin, to bringing freedom to Germany, bringing freedom for all people in Eastern Germany. I grew up, and not really grew up, but I'm getting older. So the people who grew up in Eastern Germany are like me. For example, I have 3 daughters, and they asked me, Dad, when you were in my age, do you also spend your holidays in France or Spain or Italy or Israel? And I said, no, when I wasn't your age, the trip had to stop 1 hour. We left at home because then there was a border. There was no chance to go far away. And now we live in freedom. And if you see Berlin here, this river was the border. So this part between the Reichstag and this side, there was the wall. And this side here is the western side, and this is the eastern side. And now we have a bridge. This is like a symbol here. This bridge here, you see. This is not only a bridge for Germany. This is the symbol for freedom, because if you walk from this bridge, you walk from former GDR to Western Germany, and now we are reunified, and now everything is free. And if you were here 30 years ago, there was nothing than grass. It was only wood there here. And now you have this amazing government department here everywhere. So now you cannot see where freedom and unfreedom, but for me it's every time very special when I walk over this bridge, because it were our parents and grandparents fighting for freedom. They stand up for freedom, and we see that freedom is not. We know that freedom is not something we take for granted. And how came it to this special situation? After, I think we are in a completely new world. After the First World War, World War I, we had a special situation, something like a multipolar world. And in this world, you have the right of the strongest. You have big empires like Great Britain, Portugal, Netherlands, Spain, Germany, and these empires fight together, And then we struggled in a way to a world war. Nobody could imagine that it happened. Because I think maybe you have the book from from Clark, and nobody at this time and those time wants this war. But silly decisions, after one decision after other decision, and 3-4 weeks later, the whole Europe was in war. And we have to learn from this session we learned much from this time. Then there were the saddest point of the society, the Holocaust, where people killed over 6 million the fabric way Jewish people. I think the deepest point on the world. And then we split the world after a multipolar world in a bipolar world. From a multipolar world to a bipolar world. And the bipolar world was the communist system against the Western capitalistic system. Now we know that you can only be free in a capitalistic system, definitely. And you see what a capitalistic system brings: wealth, freedom, and so on. And everything you see here is the reason because people can do it by their own and not state organized. And after this bipolar world, we had a Cold War, not a hot war. We had a Cold War because it was balanced. We had a balanced world order, and then after, and this is the special moment I come to this topic. With perestroika, glasnost, people in Eastern Europe or Middle Europe, now we say Middle Europe, stand up for freedom. Stand up by freedom, and Mikhail Gorbachev said, okay, we want to open the Soviet Union. And then the war breaks down. Nobody could imagine 3 weeks before that could happen. I think my parents, for example, ordered an old GDR car. If they would know that only 3 or 4 weeks before the war comes down, if they would know that 4 weeks later we can buy a Western Germany Mercedes, we would never buy this old stuff. But nobody could imagine. And then the war was down. And I'm not a grandparent, I'm not an old guy. So even our young generation knows what it means to be in a world of unfreedom. And now we live in a freedom world. And then after this, we thought the bipolar world crashed down. And then we thought the freedom of the world is there. No war more. Somebody talked about the end of the history. And now we know it's not the end of the history. Germany, France, a lot of European countries debudget their forces, Navy, Air Force, because they thought we do need it. Why? It's freedom. From a bipolar world, now we have a multilateral world. We thought we have the UN and we can everything do together. We can deal everything together, we speak, we can vote, and then if we sit regularly together, then we can solve all our problems on the table. This was the idea of the 90s, that we can solve the problems, all challenges on the table. Then we have the Yugoslavian war, very bad. Europe, very, very bad. And then we begin that some countries left this multilateral consent. They used the multilateral system only for their own profit, but not for the profit at all. You see China, how China influenced the UN, how Russia influenced the UN, in a very, very special way. And so they use the multilateral system for their own authoritarian systems. And if it comes, for example, to anti-Semitism, then you see how some crazy countries use the UN for providing their bullshit, for example. And we have no majority as democratic world. So, and that's the issue. And then, after that, we come from a bilateral world to a multilateral world. And now, I think, we are in the middle of a new multipolar world, like before World War I. Because now we see Germany, France, Russia, China, the US, and so all these countries. And we see that some countries think that the right of the strongest is the way how to deal. You see it with Russia, the hot war. It's not like the period of bipolar world, a Cold War. Now we have a hot war. We see what China is dealing with Taiwan, for example. It's the next conflict, and it would be the much bigger conflict in this region, the South China, Sub-China Sea. And I think from this crazy multipolar world, everybody have to rethink about what it means if we handle in a way like the politicians before World War I. And the biggest challenge now is that we do not step in a World War III, because the kitchen is prepared. Therefore, we have every ingredients for this multipolar world, big powers, and so we have to be very, very careful not to step in. And now, and this is the next future, but what will come. I think we see the same parallel like before. Now I think we come from a multipolar world in a bipolar world again. But not a bipolar world between the communist system and Western capitalistic system. I think we on the ground step, on a big step for the bipolar world, from democratic systems and autocratic systems. So, and this is the new bipolar world we step in the next times. That Germany, Europe, the US, Israel, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan are together and think much more about how we deal with dictatorships in the world. And this is when we come to a new bipolar world. But what it means to be a diplomat is that we also have to deal with countries that are not a democratic country like we. But this is the new normal, I think, that we have to accept that we come in the new bipolar world, and after that, I think we have everything to do that other people in the world can live in the same freedom way like we. And if you look to Iran, for example, like now, thousands of women and people stand up for freedom, and we should support them every second because we know what freedom makes with people, and I wish every people in the world that they have the same advantages like we all together to live in a freedom way. And here in Germany, we built the freedom with draw down the wall directly. This river was the border, and also with the Abraham Accords between Arab countries and Israel. Here in Germany was not in DC. DC was the first speeches, but here in Berlin was the first official meeting between the ambassador, the foreign minister for foreign affairs from Israel, from Morocco, and from United Arab States. Here on the Holocaust Denkmal was this first official meeting. So I think Berlin is the heart of freedom. and I hope also for the heart of future. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for your keynote address and the words of optimism. Hopefully it goes in that direction. Do you have a few moments to take one or two questions?
No, I have to leave right now.
I hear the siren in the background. Yes.
Yes, I have to. What? Okay. Yes, I have. Yes. Okay.
So we can take one or two?
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, so let's take advantage of the opportunity. Please don't be shy. Questions, comments? If you could just raise your hand and, okay, sure. And briefly introduce yourself as always.
Hi, good morning, Your Honor. I'm Cyril from the Philippines. I just have one question. You were able to describe to us the difference, in the reactions after the fall of the wall. It was very positive. People were thinking, scholars were saying that it's the end of the history, and there's all this positivity in terms of a new world order coming into place. And now we see that 33 years after the fall of the wall, things are not as we expected. So my question would be, what lessons can we learn from these misassumptions that we did in the past, and discovering that this is happening now in our present? If we are able to overcome this current dilemma that we have, how should we look into the lessons that we are learning from this scenario?
I think the miracle in this time was that it was human-made. It was made by the people. It was made by people fight for their own freedom. I think this is the most important thing. There was no other country and said, you have to be free, now I come and give you freedom. So the people by their own said, we want to live in a freedom, we want to live in freedom, we want to vote, we want to discuss, we want to have an open society and so on. And I think the first demonstrations in this time, parents of my friends, they were on this demonstration. I think they not want to be part of Western Germany. They only want to reform their own system. That was the first demonstration. They go on the street to reform the system, to have free votes and so. And then was history, because Gorbachev said, okay, we want to do the same thing in the Soviet Union, and then everything comes together. So, and of course, yes, and what we can learn is that we should support people who stand up for freedom. I'm pretty sure if 10 years ago, 1983, 1984, where the GDR was completely bankrupt, Western Germany gave them $1 billion of credits to survive. Because in Western Germany, the new generation in Western Germany didn't want the reunification. And so they give credits that the old system survive. And if we have learnings from this, I would say we shouldn't give money to authoritarian systems to survive. We should stay on the side of the people fighting for freedom. And the GDR would broken much earlier than 1989. And so now it's in the same way. We shouldn't, exactly in this way, we should not stay on JCPOA, the nuclear negotiation agreement with Iran, because you cannot negotiate with a partner on the one hand side to have less sanction with the Iran mullahs, and on the other hand side they killed women on the street. So this is the work does not work. And this is a learning that we have to quit, for example, JCPOA, that we have to do much more pressure, not the pressure not because of pressure, but for the women and the people on the street fight for a new system. And also in Manila, for example, I mean, you live in a very, I visit Manila, and you live in a very special country. So you have a big LGBTQ community, for example. Are they really free? No. So, and is it dangerous to be there as a homosexual guy? Yes. So, and I think we have to engage there. We have to be there, and we have to organize youth exchange between that young people from Manila come to Berlin, come to Austria, and we come to Manila. That we see that all our people, our young generation, see what miracle is it to live in a freedom world, and to fight for people. They are not that far yet, and for the other people, see how freedom smells, and to support our liberal partner. I'm a member of the Liberal Party. We have a Liberal Party membership with our Liberal Party friends in Manila. So our Naumann Foundation is there, for example. So and it's very very important. And so there is a huge community. They want to have a freedom way, and they have to engage, and we have to empower them. We have to empower them to engage, that these young people can engage in politics and make the change by their own. I think this is an answer.
Thank you so much. I just want to say I've worked with the Friedrich Naumann Foundation back in Manila, and I'm really proud of what they do.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mr. Frank, thank you for your perspective. Do you think that any serious effort is going on to end the war between US, Russia and Ukraine? And if there is something, is Germany seriously engaged in those efforts?
Yes, I think there is a solution for the end of the war. A very simple one. Russia have to stop their army, navy, and everything. Because if Russia stop the war, then we have freedom. If the Ukrainians stop the war, we have no Ukraine. And this is the truth. So there is no way right now for the chance of negotiation there. Not because we want not to do it. The embassy of Russia is, I think, 20, 30 meters from my office. I open my window, and 40 meters in the opposite of the street is the Russian embassy. So we want to have a diplomatic solution. But there is one guy in the world, he's not interested in diplomatic way of solution. This is Vladimir Putin. And this is crazy. We have, after Crimea, for example, they took the Crimea against every right of the world, took Crimea, and we, instead of fighting against this, we have a little bit sanction, so we did it in a diplomatic way. We tried to have diplomatic solutions. Look at Georgia. When Russia took parts of Georgia, what was the answer of Europe, and especially in Germany? We enlarged the G7 to G8. We took Russia in our arms to find, because we thought we cannot have war in Europe. We want to have diplomatic way. So G7 to G8. We bring it. We have the NATO-Russland Grundakte. Do not want the English word for. Then we have the situation after the annexation of Crimea, and a lot of diplomatic way. Then we, until the beginning of the hot war on February the 24th, already 14,000 soldiers died in East Ukraine. Until that, and what did the Western community did? Diplomatic way. We thought we can solve it of a diplomatic way. And the only guy He's not interested in diplomatic, is Putin. And he said, okay, I'm not interested in diplomatic, and I bring the troops, all my troops to Ukraine. People like we, young women, young men like we, go to office, and then the rockets come down. In a situation like we sitting here, and you could imagine 10, now in 4 minutes, 10 rockets come there and destroy everything. This is the reality in Europe, because not because we want to have no diplomatic, because Russia wanted diplomatic, and that is the only way we can do. It's the only chance to stop this war is when Vladimir Putin stop his troops.
One more question or comment?
And of course, we are very strong with our troops. Of course, we can destroy everything, but it's take a little bit time. No, one more question. Yes, one more, and then I have to, because I have to vote. I have to vote not later than 45.
Yes. You mentioned earlier about how the fall of the wall was a result of the people wanting freedom, wanting, we have to give credit to the desire of the people to bring about this change. I was just wondering, because recently I've seen in the news that when the government wanted more men to join the military, or to become soldiers in the war, a lot of the young Russian men and individuals, they decided not to join. They kind of like, it's not really a protest, but it seemed like their own choice of saying that I would rather get out of Russia than to join this war. Do you think this is similar to the people saying that we don't want this war, and especially coming from the Russian people themselves? And what does this imply to, or how will this impact the Russian strategy at the moment in terms of the war?
Yes. Two perspectives. The first one is Russia, to stand on the street in Russia and say, I'm against the war, you go in prison in 5 minutes. So you cannot say how's the feeling in society, because a lot of people are against this war, but they do not go to the street because they want not to be in the prison or killed. So, and that's the reason. Yes, of course, we see a change in the mindset of some people on the floor, some people on the floor, that they do not want to fight. The refugees from Russia is a huge amount now. It's not only in Germany, also in Finlandia and a lot of Tashkent, Kazakhstan, and so on. But there are a lot of people that are not against the system. They only want not to fight. So, and that's, we know from our intelligence service that there are a lot of people inside the refugees. They belongs to the system, but they do want not to fight. And the change is a very realistic way Russia do it right now, because they stopped the recruiting process in Moscow and St. Petersburg, in the big cities, in the big liberal cities. Nothing is liberal in Russia, but you know what I mean. And concentrate the recruiting process in the Muslim areas. And so, and the poorest, this is the poorest men of Russia have to fight there. And now we see they fight there because they get pretty much money for this. And normally they get 250 euro per month, and now they get as a soldier 3,000 or 4,000 euro per month. So it is, of course, they said, okay, I have to go, otherwise I would shut down. Okay, then when I go, I bring money with. So they earn in a half year, they earn more money than they get in 20 years if they work at home. And now they're on the front. Is that front of English?
The front.
On the front here? Yes, they're on the front. And And we listen to their cell phone. Our intelligence service, we know the phone calls at home. So, and I can say to you that there is no one from these soldiers that is happy about this. They call at home and say, stay at home. Please do me only one favor. Tell everybody that he has not to come here because we died. We died 100 times every day. We have no weapons. We have nothing there. The government did nothing for protect their own soldiers, and so because the Ukraine fight with the modern weapon system in the world exists. This is a cyber war right now. We shut down a lot of things, and on the other, and Russia go to the war like World War II, and so now we see, for example, one thing is that the people, the Ukrainians took the cell phones from the uniform from the dead soldiers from Russia, and there is a software from and they can unlock the cell phone and send a picture from the death soldier to all contacts on WhatsApp, for example, or and say this is the result of your dictatorship, Vladimir Putin, and so because the message comes to the country. So that changed something, but in the nearest environment of Vladimir Putin, there's nobody who want to stop this. So this is completely this is a completely another cloud they live. So there's nobody who want to stop them, and the people are not that engaged right now because it's very, very, very dangerous to engage. So, and yes, this is it. Unfortunately,
On that occasion, let's express our sincere gratitude.